Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. Today's May 19th, 2016. In the mainstream media, the big story is the disappearance of a passenger plane, Egypt Airlines traveling from Paris, France to Cairo, Egypt. They're saying the plane went off the radar and has likely disappeared into the sea. For most people, this will give them instant deja vu of the missing Malaysian plane MH370 that supposedly disappeared March 8th, 2014. They're saying that the plane that disappeared today is Flight 804. Check this out. From the date the Malaysian plane disappeared, March 8th, 2014, until today, May 19th, 2016, is a span of 804 days. These are related stories. Today's flight is 804. It has disappeared 804 days later. And if you go back through this blog, through my video channel, I have covered MH370 and I have covered every other plane crash disaster you have heard of in history. All of these stories that make the mainstream about plane crashes that are treated as mysteries, acts of terrorism, they are propaganda, contrived news stories, lies, completely false. This includes the missing Asian airliner that happened shortly after MH370. It includes the plane that was shot down in Ukraine. It includes the Germanwings crash with the suicidal pilot Andreas Lubitz. All of these stories are made up with coded numbers that help you see through the propaganda if you know what you're looking at. So let's go through the details of this reporting. Let's just start with the first headline put up by CNN. This was put up late last night here on the west coast of the United States. It wasn't quite May 19th yet here when the story broke. CNN's first headline was this: EgyptAir Flight missing. In gematria, this sums to 118. This is a number very much connected to death. And that is the subliminal, Right away, when most people hear about a missing plane, the automatic assumption is plane crash and death. So often the media giving us stories of death to scare us. It is a level of subliminal programming. When we are a fearful people, we are a more easily ruled over people. And the Jews and the Masons who control the media, they are what are often referred to as the New World Order, the Illuminati. The New World Order is a Jew world order. If you learn about Judaism, they're very much centered on numbers. Numbers are of great significance. They have a lot of spiritual meaning. It is the Jews who code these numbers and create news stories on the daily by the numbers. This goes well beyond plane crashes. Almost every story you've ever heard of in the media that you've been fooled by, deceived by, duped by, it has been propaganda contrived by this same code. Egypt flight missing 118, just like death. Remember, MH370 disappeared on March 8th, which can be written 3/8, another number connecting to death. We'll talk about the significance of these dates in just a moment. They're saying this plane was EgyptAir, which has gematria 47. 47 is a very important number to the Masons and the Jews. The Zionist state of Israel was established in the year 47. It was established by a 33-member vote from the United Nations that's 39 floors tall. The Jews go by the 39 books of the Old Testament. Today, May 19th, would be Malcolm X's 91st birthday if he was still alive. He was murdered at age 39, just like Martin Luther King Jr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X, both dead at age 39, the number very important to the Jews in the Old Testament. Both of their names in gematria sum to 93, the reflection of 39. They only met one time in history on a date with 93 numerology. 39, 93, very important numbers to the Masons and the Jews. Israel was first drawn up as a country on September 3rd, a date that can be written 9/3 or 3/9, approved by a 33-member vote from the 39-floor tall United Nations in the year 47. Words such as mafia equal 47, obey equals 47, authority equals 47, judge equals 47, gavel equals 47. France, a Masonic nation, also equals 47. In France, it is illegal to speak against the Jewish faith. You can be imprisoned. And the reason this is so is because a lot of people in this world know that the Jews, not all of them, but the Jews who run the show, they are evil. They are the evil force of this world, and they are responsible for so much of its wrongdoing. The Holocaust, the World War II, that was all done by the Jews. That's what people don't get. Hitler was a Jew agent. Hitler was played by the Jews. The Jews have contrived this narrative using their own people to create Israel, to run their power structure. Mafia, 47. France, 47. The word Jewish equals 74. The word Masonic equals 74, the reflection of 47. From Paris to Cairo, this is interesting. The gematria of Paris to Cairo is 144. This number has to do with time. It has to do with killing. The Andreas Lubitz plane crash supposedly had 144 people on the plane. It crashed on the 44th parallel. If you write out the word 44, it sums to 144. Paris to Cairo also sums to 63, just like Paris alone, the big way. What's special about 63 in 2016 is that if you add every number up to 63, 1 plus 2 plus 3, all the way up to 63, it sums to 2016, just like the year. So here it is, EgyptAir Flight 804 with 66 people on board. The book I'm working on right now, when you have it in your hands, when you read it, you're going to see the significance of 66 and 84. These numbers are coded into so many important things throughout history, especially this nation here, the United States of America. Something tells me all these plane stories, they are leading to a riddle that has something to do with this country. There's something coming here. United States of America equals 84. Revolutionary War equals 84. Manifest Destiny has gematria of 66 and 84. Thomas Jefferson, one of the important founders who spent a lot of time in France, has name gematria of 66 and 84. Very important numbers, numbers often paired together. I just want you to understand that for now. It's the reason they are in this flight. It's also further proof that this plane doesn't exist, that these people weren't on the plane, that this is just all made up bullshit from these Jews. Some other significant words with 84 gematria. Obama equals 84. His birthday is August 4th, 8/4. Words such as Savior equals 84. Jesuit, the Masonic order within the Catholic Church. There's a lot of, truth channels out here that are saying it's the Catholics behind everything. These people don't know their history. What's way older than Catholicism, the CC, the Catholic Church, is Judaism. And the Jews created the Catholic Church. The Jews have created a lot in this world as controlled opposition. So the Catholic Church, the Jesuit order, they're important, but they're all under this Masonic Jewish umbrella. Words with 66 gematria, empire equals 66. The powers that be, they're always building their empire. And you have to realize that since Israel was established, it's always been growing, taking more land from the people who've lived there and who should be entitled to that land. It's been stolen by the Jews, the tyrants in power, the banker madmen. Anyway, they have plans to grow Israel way bigger. If humanity doesn't do anything to stop the Jews, Israel might eventually just be the whole Middle East. They might eventually just grow the whole Middle East to be Israel. Their plans are to continue to expand their nation and to genocide their enemies. You have to recognize the ongoing agenda. They broke the flight down to 10 crew members and 56 passengers. The word 10, when written out, has gematria of 39. 56 connects to Paris, France, where it took off from. ISIS also equals 56. Don't be surprised if they end up blaming this on ISIS. So this is the reporting last night. Before I knew numerology and gematria, the way I figured it out was just by reading mainstream stories and seeing how often the same numbers are put before people's eyes. Look at what they say here. The flight left Paris Charles de Gaulle Airport at 11:09 p.m. I mean, it's just so arrogant. It makes me, I can't even express it. It really does make my blood boil. Since I said the words 11:09, I feel like my body temperature is up at least a few degrees. These Masons, these Jews, they think they can get away with this, and they are getting away with it, and it needs to end. They put this number into everything. Just think about it. September 11th, that date over in Europe was written 11/9. Think about the Berlin Wall fell on November 9th. You read my book, you're going to see again how many times this number has shown up in history. It is mind-blowing. The phrase all-seeing eye equals 119, so does Star of David. In numerology, 0 doesn't count, so this is just like 119. And look at what it says here. And was supposed to land in Cairo at 3:15 a.m. Picture a clock. When the hands are on the clock for 3:15, where are they? The minute hand's on the 3, and so is the hour hand. So this is 3-3, a lot like 33. If you go back and watch my video on Malaysian Airlines, they coded 33 into everything about it. Even Malaysian Airlines symbol looks like a 33. This is a very important number to the Masons and the Jews. Think about the Catholic Church, the CC, the third letter, the 3-3. September 11th, when the World Trade Centers fell down, they fell down 33 years after they were built. Construction began August of 68, the same year 911 was made the national emergency dialing code, the same year George W. Bush graduated from Yale in Skull and Bones. All this stuff is planned out by the numbers. They say the location lost contact after 173 miles. The reason they put that number in there is probably twofold. One, it has 11 numerology. 1 + 7 + 3 = 11. 11's the master number, very special number. Also, 173 is the 40th prime number. When you write out 40 as a word, it sums to 84. Remember, we're talking about flight 804. United States equals 40. United States of America equals 84. And 40 and 84 have a relationship. Think about it. These numbers predate the nation. The reason this nation has this name is because this gematria, this numerology, it's always been important to them. All-seeing eye, Star of David. Star of David, the small way, also equals 47, like EgyptAir, like France. To the Masons, Euclid's 47th problem is very important. It's about how to establish a foundation. These stories are foundational in their building propaganda to where they're taking us. They're taking us to a much worse story. These airline hoaxes are, in a way, part of a countdown to wherever they're taking us. The time of 11:09, that can also be written in military time, is 23:09, a lot like 239. 239 is a very important number to the Jews. Let me show you this real quick. The Jewish faith, they go by the holy book, the Torah. And Torah in Jewish gematria sums to 239. Torah, 239. My computer is running so slow. Anyway, here's Torah right here, 239. They believe that the Messiah will arrive through the Golden Gate, the Jews. Golden Gate equals 239. Remember Andreas Lubitz, the suicidal pilot who crashed the Germanwings plane? He was pictured in front of the Golden Gate Bridge. Right now, the United States of America is 239 years old. That will change on July 4th. And I just want you to think about this nation's birthday in light of Jewish. Jewish equals 74. So does Masonic. Masonic equals 74. Major parallel between the Jews and the Masons. Think about this nation's birthday, July 4th, the holiday. Holiday, a word with 74 gematria. In this nation's history, the original Thanksgiving was established 74 years after George Washington celebrated the first Thanksgiving. It was established by Abraham Lincoln, both men Masons. The The whole nation has always operated by a numerological code, is the point I'm trying to make. You might also recall that the Malaysian flight MH370, which crashed 804 days ago, it had 239 people on the plane. And all throughout this year, the 239th year of the nation's existence, they kept saying, we think we found the Malaysian plane, we think we found a wing part, or whatever. It's all part of an ongoing mocking. Again, 804 days, today is flight 804. Here's what else is interesting about March 8th and May 19th. March 8th is the 67th day of the year. May 19th is the 139th day of the year. And these numbers very much connect to Freemasonry. Freemasonry, the small way, equals 58 and 67. If you want to know how to gematria, in the description I have a how to gematria video. Freemasonry, the big way, also sums to 139. Again, MH370 disappeared on the 67th day of the year. It disappeared today, May 19th, typically the 139th day of the year. And it also reminds that in recent history, there was the terror hoax at the Belgium airport on March 22nd. From March 22nd to May 19th is 58 days. They said that several of the people on the plane were Belgium, reminding us of this major hoax, March 22nd. If you haven't seen my work on the Belgium terror attack, it came exactly 223 weeks after the last terror attack in the country. All by the numbers. Masonic equals 223. There was a bombing at the Melbeek metro station on March 22nd, supposedly, 223. The synagogue of Satan, the name for the false Jews in Revelation of the Bible, equals 223. They also said that the plane that disappeared today disappeared at the altitude of 37,000 feet. Israel equals 37. The Hebrew alphabet is based on the number 37. MH370, just something to think about. They said 227 passengers plus 12 crew. That's a total of 239 people. 227, do you remember what's special about this number? If you divide 22 by 7, let me just show you this for anyone who's never been here before. Show you just how deep this gematria language is. If you divide 22 by 7, you get the approximation of pi. 22 divided by 7 equals 3.14 decimal point repeating. If you write out 22 divided by 7, look at what it equals. It equals 314, a lot like 3.14 for pi. And this is no coincidence. These are very important numbers. A lot of this coding comes back to time, cycles, circles. Almost every war you've ever heard of has started in connection to 227. Major political assassinations very much connected to this number. Think about wars, assassinations, death. In the beginning, we talked about the significance of the coding of death. The reason they said this number, though, is because this was going to be part of an ongoing cycles and circles of propaganda, which has been going ever since. Almost every plane disaster you've heard of since MH370 has been connected to MH370. On March 29th, there was the story of the hijacking of an Egypt Airline plane by supposedly a mad husband. The plane was flying from Alexandria to Cairo. That story came 51 days ago. The word conspiracy equals 51. Freemason equals 51. That date, March 29th, 329. Notice that has the same numbers that are in 239, what we were just talking about, for the age of the country, the number of people on MH370. The redundancy. Talked about how, it happened 173 miles, the 40th prime. In more coding, they say the plane entered Egypt's air service on November 3rd, 2003, he added. So the plane had been with EgyptAir from November 3rd, 2003. What they want to put before your eyes here is the 11/3. 11/3. Also, 11/3 connects to important things. Let me just show you. Scottish Rite Freemasonry is the branch of Freemasonry that dominates this world, that controls the media. Scottish has 113. Think about November 3rd, 11/3. Also, this is a number that routinely goes into mainstream lies. Mainstream equals 113. So does dishonest. Dishonest equals, well, you got to spell it, right? Dishonesty. Crashing on me. Dishonest equals 113. In the Jewish holy text, Bava Kama 113a says a Jew can lie to someone who isn't a Jew. And again, the media is controlled by Jews, Jews who operate by the numbers, and Jews who code their numbers of significance. These people are lying, and they are coding their numbers of their lies again and again. The plane entered Egypt's air service on November 3rd, 11/3. It's just a joke. Show you something else real quick. Israel equals 64, the big way, 37, the small way. So does Zion, as in Zionism. There's a religion, Thelema, that worships the number 93. Israel was drawn up as a state on 9/3, September 3rd. Their Congress is called Knesset, which has gematria of 93. The United Nations, 39 floors tall. The Reflection, the Jews go by the 39 books in the Old Testament. Very important numbers to these people. Numbers that get coded again and again. And anyhow, what I wanted to show you with Israel equaling 64 is this. 64 is connected to the number 311. The number 311 is the 64th prime number. And 311, the reflection of 113, a very special number. USA breaks down to 311. The phrase the beast in Jewish gematria equals 311. This is why they have put this date, November 3rd, in front of our eyes. It can be written 11/3 or 3/11, part of their routine coding all throughout history. The plane's captain had 6,000 flying hours, while the first officer had 4,000. 6, 4, Israel 64. Says a distress signal was detected at the general vicinity where the flight disappeared. That is at 4:26 a.m. 4:26 is the 266th minute of the day. The 266th day of the year is September 23rd, a date that can be written 23/9, like 239, like the number we've been talking about. You know, Malaysian plane, 239 people. This plane disappeared at 23:09 military time. The country is 239 years old in the United States. And the French Revolution calendar, their date of New Year's Day this past year was September 23rd. French Revolution calendar started on September 23rd this year. If you don't know your history well, the French Revolution began right after the American Revolution. The Bavarian Illuminati, out by France, established May 1st, 1776. The United States would declare its independence months later. At the end of the American Revolution, the French Revolution began. And if you look at the key players in both revolutions, they were traveling between both countries. Red, white, and blue, you know. Britain, all these countries, they're all part of the Masonic Alliance. What these Masons have done all throughout history is they've created false boundaries for countries. They've used the people within those boundaries against each other. They've used wars to generate profit for the sake of control, for the sake of power. They've duped the people of this world all throughout history by the numbers with all sorts of deceptive tactics. I'm telling you, read my book. You're going to see how it all comes together. That time, 4:26 in numerology, 4 is 4, 26 breaks down to 8, 4-8, kind of like the reflection of 84, another number they coded into the story. They have crackhead Richard Quest on CNN right now. Every time there is a plane crash, ask yourself why CNN pulls the crackhead Richard Quest out of Central Park to report to the masses on it. You know, turn on CNN right now. He's on there. He's all geeked up. It's like, it's like he's so happy there's a plane crash. It's just insane, These stories are bullshit. The presentation's bullshit. I don't know exactly what they're trying to do to people. It's obvious they're trying to fuck with their heads, though, by putting people such as Richard Quest on the news. If you don't know who Richard Quest is, look him up. A complete goofball character. Airbus, who supposedly owns the plane, puts out a tweet. You have to remember, these companies, they're owned by the same gang. The Masons, the Jews, they run the show. They control industry, they control media, they control government. They got it all. The reason they tweeted at 9:56, we talked about 56 in regards to Paris, but 56 also has numerology of 11. 5 plus 6 is 11. 9, 11. And then this morning, the updated headlines, swerved and then plunged. There's been a whole lot of 239 coding on the stock market in the last year or two. It makes me wonder if it has to do with an upcoming collapse. That headline almost reminds me of maybe what we might see the market here do pretty soon. A big house of cards. Swerved and then plunged has gematria of 106, the number of prophecy. Very important number to the Masons and Jews. They use Revelation, the final book of the Bible, the 66th book. Remember, 66 people on the plane. They use that truly as their playbook. Revelation to the Masons and the Jews is like a football coach's playbook. No joke. All throughout history, everything by revelation. This nation, the United States, based on revelation. The name Philadelphia, the original capital, comes from revelation in the Bible. Show you this real quick. The updated details. 66 people. Where did they write that at? Here we go. So, look at what's here. At 2:27 a.m., shortly before the aircraft was scheduled to exit Greek airspace, controllers tried to reach the pilots to transfer control to Cairo authorities. Despite repeated attempts, they received no response. The time, 2:27. 227 people or passengers on MH370. 227. They just can't get away from these numbers. And then they also say at 229, an update, 229 is the 50th prime number. America equals 50, 50 states. Something tells me all of this is coming back to the United States, where all these stories are taking us to. I think the United States is ripe for something that'll make September 11th seem microscopic. 227 is also the 49th prime, a lot like 227. Revelation equals 49, the book of prophecy. They say the flight was supposed to be 3.5 hours long. Remember, it was supposed to land at 3:15 when both hands are on the 3. Think about what 3.5 hours is. 3 hours, 30 minutes, 3. Something else interesting, they say flight 804. If you write it out that way, it has gematria of 235, kind of like 23/5 for September 23rd, the 144th day of the year this year. Remember the Andreas Lubitz plane crash? Supposedly 144 people killed. He was shown in front of the Golden Gate Bridge, showing how all this stuff syncs up. May 23rd, just days away, the 144th day of the year. To close this out, I'll show you something I just found in my research. I've been talking a lot about May 23rd. We're almost there. Just caught something big with May 23rd I want to show you before I hang this video up. Where's it at here? Bear with me, Truth Seeker. You want to see this. Here we go. You've heard of this Illuminati card game before. There's a card in it called Hit and Run. And on the license plate of this car is the number 235 and then 666. Remember, prophecy equals 666 in Jewish gematria. Prophecy equals 666. 235, again, could be a way to represent the date May 23rd, the 144th day of the year. When you add the first 144 decimal points of pi, it sums to 666. Remember, when you divide 22 by 7, you get the number 4 pi. All of these numbers related. So here on this Illuminati card, 235, 666, hit and run, you see a blondish man. A lot's being foreshadowed that it might be Donald Trump if somebody gets shot May 23rd. And this comb over, this haircut almost looks kind of like his comb over. The card says assassination. This is an instant attack to destroy any personality at any time. It does not require an action. Its power is 10, which I guess is the biggest power in the card game. This card game came out in 1982. It will turn 34 years old later this summer. It's currently in its 33rd year of existence. A lot has been foreshadowed through this card game, and this very well might be more foreshadowing. I want you to notice that hit and run has gematria of 46. There was recently a Trump tombstone. Trump tombstone equals 58, like Freemasonry. It was put there 58 days before May 23rd. The only thing visible in terms of numbers on here was 46. Hit and run equals 46. The date it was placed there, March 27th, 16. The tombstone, a date with 46 numerology. The word sacrifice equals 46. You know, last year, May 23rd, they said that at least 46 people were killed in flooding in Texas and Oklahoma. Texas plus Oklahoma and gematria equals 46. There's also this card in the deck that says enough is enough. A lot of people are saying that looks like Donald Trump. Donald Trump came to be popular in 1984, 84. Enough is enough. Speaking of enough is enough, what really is enough is having Donald Trump's face on TV. He has been on TV 24/7, 365, something I've never seen before in my life. Donald Trump's gotten more coverage than any president, any celebrity. I've never seen anything for anyone like the last year of Donald Trump on TV. And with that, I want to make a point. This card says an instant attack to destroy any personality at any time. Donald Trump, the only reason he's popular with some Americans right now is because it's a populace of fucking retards, gullible sheep. And they just believe what's on the TV. The TV controls, so many people's minds 100%. No exceptions. If tomorrow they decide to destroy Donald Trump, his character, to expose him as a bigot, a pig, a hypocrite, a liar, a moron, things they could all do because the guy truly is a fucking moron. There's no other way to express it. He says the dumbest shit day after day, but somehow maintains his presidential status only because the media carries him that way. If they want to flip the script tomorrow, it can be over. They can start posting numbers on the screen saying that Donald Trump's now polling at less than 2% in the fucking retard masses. They'll just say, oh, well, that must be true. So, this card game, it's made by the Masons, the Jews, the people who go by the name Illuminati, and who really do control the show. That's why they can put out a card like this, and it's true what it says, They can end whatever tomorrow. They can do anything they want in the minds of these retard lemmings that populate this country and so much of the world. EgyptAir, here's what their plane looks like. Notice it has this symbol on the side that looks like an all-seeing eye. Remember, it took off at 11:09, a lot like 119 for all-seeing eye. The headline a month ago, or March 29th, all hostages freed, gematria of 67, like Freemasonry, like the date, the 67th day of the year that MH370 left. All hostages freed also equals 157, like United States. Wait until you read my book about 157, the Civil War, and Lincoln. It's just amazing what they did. These Jews, they've been doing it all this time. And to think in France, if I made this video, I'd be put in prison for speaking truth to power against the Jew filth that controls this world. And if those words offend you, I'm sorry. The reason they offend you is because your mind has been programmed by the Jew filth to have nothing but sympathy for the Jew filth, the Jew liars, the Jews who hate everybody but their own kind. You know? In France, people are literally put in prison for speaking out against the Jews who've done nothing but lie and control the masses throughout history. And for calling them on it, it's a prison offense. You know? That's the other thing about these Jews and Masons that we live under. We put up with their bullshit laws, from it being illegal to speak against them to, things such as marijuana being illegal. The reason they want marijuana illegal is because marijuana gives people the opportunity to free their minds. They want to be the controllers of your mind. When people smoke weed, they often wake up. They often realize what's fucked up in the world, what they've been lied to about. And that's why weed's illegal, Here I am, the weed smoker that sees through it all, like so many others. Truth be told, though, I saw through it before I smoked weed. Sometimes the weed helps, though, especially with putting up with this bullshit. So that's the update. I meant to make this post quicker, but, lots of information to cover, lots of parallels to expose. These Jews, they need to be put away. They need to be done for. The Jews who aren't responsible, they need to renounce their religion, renounce their faith. Like most Christians, they've probably never read their holy texts. If you read these texts, you see that Judaism is nothing but a perversion on the earth. Look at the laws of Judaism. It's okay to molest little boys. It's okay to lie to people who aren't Jews. It's okay to do all sorts of sick shit. It's permitted. My mother lives across the street from a Jewish man whose son is now in his 20s, who he's kept on a leash and who he's molested his whole life. I shouldn't be saying that. But it's just true, Judaism, it's not good. It needs to be gotten rid of. The world will be better without Jews. Part of the reason I'm saying this is because, there's people in prison right now in France for speaking truth to power against Jews. All of us who are awake, we need to form an army and clear these fucking Masons and Jews from the face of this earth. Sick of these fucking stories. Sick of these people running the show. Sick of listening to the stupid fucking sheep masses who are on their knees for the Jews. All they know are the bullshit that's filled their heads from history books and news. Movies like Schindler's List. Tell you something. Schindler's List made by Jew filth Steven Spielberg. The word Spielberg equals 93. The word propaganda equals 93. That movie came out in 93. Oscar Schindler died on a date with 93 numerology. Think about it. The Jews killed this motherfucker, and they want to make a movie blaming it on someone else, if he even really existed. That's what the Jews have done all throughout history. Created problems and blamed him on other people, and said, that's the boogeyman, that's the enemy. We're the people you need to feel sorry for. That's their trick. So fuck you, Jew filth in France. This message is going to reach the world eventually, and you all are going to be living in prison cells. All right, truth seeker. Sorry to be so full of venom, but I do have some real venom for these people. In my book, it's going to bury these people once and for all. Until next time.